unscripted, unfiltered, back in my little sacred oak green belt outside of my apartments, and with another message on my mind that I wanted to share here that I felt was important. And that is about, so yesterday I talked about how I wanted to sort of upgrade my site and not talk so much about abuse and modalities of healing from abuse and that type of thing. And then this morning, after going through some I just have these like times where I feel, and this happens often, where I feel down on myself, like it's hard to explain. And so I can feel really good and really motivated, and then later feel really down and unmotivated and feel like, really down on myself without going into a lot of detail, okay? And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I know I'm not the only one that feels like that. And what happens usually is I usually will start to feel frustrated that I feel that way, like, okay, what's going on? Why am I feeling this way? Why can't I maintain a high vibe, right? And what I have found, what I understand, and when I remember, when I allow myself to just really remember and be patient with myself, I remember that, here, honey, I'm going to let you take this time. My daughter is with me today. Here, go ahead and walk out that way, just on that side of the tree. There we go. I remember that, keep them in this way so that if any dogs come down the path, yeah, you can just stay here and let the rope out a little. Maybe come out this way, sorry. I have CPTSD, which is a complex PTSD. And what that is in general is it's where you can get triggered, but it can be very subtle. You don't really understand what's triggering you. Because when you have gone through a whole childhood of abuse, right? When you've gone through many years of something, there are many, many things that you dealt with, traumas. You're not just dealing with one trauma, like somebody got robbed, right? That's PTSD. You're dealing with a whole lifetime of traumas. And so triggers can be all around you. And they can be very subtle. You don't even know really that you're being triggered by something. And sometimes I've been able to go back, since I've healed and worked on it, I realize I can go back and sometimes realize some of them. Like, okay, this is what it was, And for example, one that I had last night that I didn't even recognize was I got an email from a YouTuber that I follow, that I really have a lot of respect and love for and think a lot about. But she's really, really young and very beautiful and very, I realized I felt so diminished. I didn't realize that at the time, but later I realized it made me feel diminished in my own self. And it was like this trigger that happened inside of me. And I had a whole childhood of feeling like I was less than other people. And I actually grew up through most of my adulthood feeling like I was less than others. And so this is a very subtle trigger, even though I mentally know that's not true. And I've worked through so much of that damaging messaging that I had. It can still pop up subtly and you don't even realize it. All you know is that you're feeling like I could see myself taking these roads and trying to fix things about myself all of a sudden, trying to be, I got to fix myself. All of a sudden there was so much wrong with me. And I didn't, and then I started feeling, it started spiraling. But there were other triggers throughout the day. That wasn't the only one. Some of them, and I've shared this with people before, but some of them can be environmental. There are certain times of day that feel more triggering. Like I feel really good in the mornings, but toward the afternoons, I start to get like a blah feeling. And I realized years ago that there's a couple reasons that I feel that way, of things that happened in my childhood during certain times of the day. And so I recognize that. And so I've learned to go, okay, here's some things I can do to navigate through those times of day, even though those times of day still feel a little draining, and they still feel like they dip me a little bit, right? So I just wanted to share that. I didn't want to make this a big, long live, but I wanted to share that because I know there's so many people that we feel that way. Like you can even think, oh man, am I bipolar, or do I, want to start labeling ourselves? Maybe I have an issue that I need to go get some medication and all this stuff. And the reality is that there's just little triggers. If you've been through abuse or have had, you don't even have to. Abuse comes in a lot of forms. It could be neglect. And if you've been through a long period of time where you felt you were in fight or flight or in survival mode for whatever reason, then you can have so many triggers around you today that are they more in a they dwell like in a subliminal space. And then you go feeling like, oh, I'm not high vibe. This isn't working for me. And it is because it's helping you in many, many other ways when you work with it rather than make it be the God. Like the high vibe is the God of my life, and that is what is going to fix everything in my life. No, I strive for high vibe because I want to feel better, period. And that's what I have to remember. And because if I start judging it on, oh, well, I haven't changed this thing in my life, or I still feel a little depressed, look at that, I'm feeling depressed today, what am I doing wrong? Then suddenly I trigger that massive, massive trigger of I'm wrong. There's something wrong about me. There's something wrong with me. I need to fix me. And there isn't. There isn't anything. We're just people. We're just humans passing through this world. That's it. We're going to get old. I'm getting older. I'm getting gray. My skin's getting looser. I have never been a beauty queen. So, there's just, I am who I am, and there's nothing wrong with me. But for so many years, I was treated like I was there was stuff that was inherently wrong with me. And I was an inherently bad person that deserved punishment, right? So that went on for years and years and years. And when that goes on for years and years and years in your life, little things can trigger you. It could be that you get on Facebook and you see somebody is having a really, really good time, and it can trigger those feelings of feeling left out, or feeling like, when I was a kid, like I was always watching everybody be loved by their parents and go on vacations and have food when I didn't have food and all these things. And so sometimes it can trigger those feelings in me. And it's recognizing that it's not them that's doing that. It's that trigger and that pain that was there. And even though it's massively healed, and I don't have these triggers near as much as I used to, they still are there, and they may be the rest of my life. And that's what I have to come to terms with. And that's what I want my, peeps that watch me to know about me, and understand that in no way, when I am talking about being high vibe and doing things in self-development, right, to make your life feel better and feel the way you create it the way you want to create it, in no way am I wanting to convey that if you're any less than high vibe, even on a regular basis, that there's something wrong with you. All that means is that there's a message that you need. There's something that you need to understand about yourself. That's it. What is making me feel this way? Why am I feeling this way? And what can I do? And if you can't figure out even why, what can I do right in this moment to feel a little better? In this moment, let me empower myself at least to say, okay, I'm gonna just go lay down again. Sometimes I'll say again, but I'm just gonna lay down. I might get up and do some things and then go lay down again. But then that laying down and maybe even scrolling through some Instagram, I really, really work with my algorithms so that I get good things, positive things, healthy things that come up in my feeds. I try not to click baity things that will start making my algorithm have a lot of negativity in it. So I work with that so that I can scroll through that sometimes and just let my mind rest and give it a rest from overthinking, right? And then sometimes I'll just fall asleep, or I might go get myself a cup of coffee or a hot tea, or I might go out for a walk, or just whatever it is I need. I've found things that work for me, right? And it just depends on how I'm feeling and why I'm feeling that way. But I really wanted to encourage you because I kind of had that down moment this morning, and I just thought to myself, I want to share this with my audience. I want them to know that we all feel this at times. We're all struggling. There are things in this world that are hard to deal with mentally. We all have fears that come up and anxiety, and that's okay. That's okay. And how we empower ourselves through that is realizing that right now, because the only power we ever have is in the moment. So being present, bringing our mind to the present and realizing that right now I'm just going to give myself what I can, what is in my power to give myself to feel a little better. Even if I feel good, how can I feel even better? Even if I'm having a good day, maybe I want to put on some music now and do some dancing as I clean the house or whatever it is, even if I'm feeling good, how could you can even ask that then. You don't have to wait until you're down. And it's just tuning into yourself, because the more you ask yourself, if I never left anything with my audience, if I died tomorrow, what I would want you to know is consistently ask yourself, how do I feel right now? And what do I need? What do I need, or what do I desire to feel a little better? And if you consistently practice that, you'll get to know yourself better. You'll empower yourself. You'll have more compassion on yourself. And to also not allow, when you feel bummed out or you don't feel, your health feels awful, I get migraines, just whatever's happening in your body or whatever's happening in your life, not to beat yourself. Don't beat yourself up about it. Refuse to abuse yourself any longer. I already, specifically speaking for myself, I've already suffered enough abuse, and I refuse to suffer it at the hands of anybody else, and especially in my own mind, at my own hands. I want to nurture and love this person no matter where I'm at. And I might not be Miss Beauty Queen. I might not be the most eloquently spoken person. I have a lot of flaws, right? But who cares? Who cares? Because I'm here to grow and to evolve and to enjoy my life. Hear the train? I love that sound in the distance. So anyways, that's all I have. And you know what? I have cataracts in both my eyes. Just a side note, okay? And they are really bad. I just had it looked at, and I was told, wow, that's a big cataract, and I have that one in here. I'm not seeing very good, so that's why I have to go like this and read this right now. I'm going to be getting some eye surgery, and hopefully that'll get better. But then when I got off my live yesterday and I went to look, I can't find the comments. And so I'm going to try to watch some videos and figure out what's going on, why I can't see the comments that come up, because I can see there's people commenting here, and I apologize. The sun's kind of washing out my vision to see it, so I can't really read it right now, and I apologize, but I really wanted to leave you with this message and just send you a lot of love and encouragement, and just love on yourself. How do I feel? What do I need? How do I feel? What do I need? Start practicing that. How do I feel? What do I need? And start practicing giving yourself what you can to feel better. All right? All right, you guys, I'll talk to you again next time. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.